Alrighty, happy Wednesday afternoon, everybody. Nicky Stees here, and obviously I'm going to do something a little different right here. I'm going to do a recap of Week 3 for the NFL, and I already got a Week 4 preview scheduled for tomorrow at noon. So here in this one, I'm going to talk a little bit about Week 3 in the NFL. First, I'm going to recap the games score by score, give a brief comment about them. Then after that, I'm going to go into the things that stood out the most, both individual performance, team-wise, and coaching from Week 3. Then I'm going to give my winners and losers, biggest winners and losers for the week. So that's mainly what I'm going to do on this one right here. So let's get started right into it. So with Week 3, we kicked off on Thursday night between the Pittsburgh Steelers and Cleveland Browns, with the Browns beating the Steelers 29-17. So for the Cleveland Browns, hey, they need to get as many wins as possible before Deshaun Watson returns. And obviously they got a win right there. You have a nice game from Nick Chubb right there. And Jacoby Brissett looks solid against that defense. So nice win for, it's a win for the Browns. Gets them with a winning record. So it helps. Steelers not looking too good with Mitchell Trubisky now, is it? I'll get more into that with the things that stood out. But then on Sunday afternoon, we got the Carolina Panthers beating the New Orleans Saints 22-14. Man, Saints had several key injuries. They're struggling. They're banged up. And it looks like the Saints are going to start slowly but surely crumbling back to just being a middle-of-the-pack, irrelevant team, man. Just feels like it's only a matter of time before that happens right there. So, yeah. I said going into the season, it would be a preview of, it would be a matter of time either the Saints will either start to go to, either start to, keep relevance and they'll be contenders, or they'll start to slowly fade back to being irrelevant. And it looks like they're going to start slowly fading so far. And we got the Chicago Bears beat the Houston Texans 23-20, last second field goal. Chicago Bears revenge against Lovie Smith right there. Hey, Bears doing it like they always do it. Running the ball, field goals, tackling. That's typical Bears for you, and it worked in their favor this time to go 2-1. We'll have to see what they do going forward. For the Texans, can't really say much about them because expectations were relatively low for them anyway. But hey, Bears go 2-1. Enjoy being in winning record while you can. So the Colts upset the Kansas City Chiefs. Here we are talking after last week, talking about Matt Ryan being washed up. The Colts are trash. And then they go at home and beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Also, the Chiefs, they cut Matt Amendola, their kicker, missed extra point, missed field goal. You had that fake right there where he threw a bad pass, but that's also falls on the Kansas City for poor play calling as well. But hey, sometimes you get those upsets, and we had that, and hey, this week was one of those upsets right there. So, and speaking of upsets, with the Miami Dolphins surprised the Buffalo Bills, beating them 21-19. We had a nice comical play in that game, which I'll get to in a bit. But hey, for the Dolphins, you're 3-0. You're one of two teams in the NFL with a 3-0 record. Obviously, things are working out well for you. Take it and run with it while you can. And you've beaten two good teams back-to-back weeks if you're the Dolphins. You beat last week the Ravens. You came back. And now you beat the Buffalo Bills, who are considered the favorites in the AFC as of right now. Hey, you're the Dolphins. Good job right there. You should be proud of yourselves. Got the Minnesota Vikings beating the Detroit Lions 28-24. They pulled a fourth quarter comeback, scoring twice late, and Lions, yeah, I give you credit. You're looking good. You're looking competitive in your games. You got a better coaching there, but you got to win some of these games, man. Now, to be fair, it's only week 3. Lions are only at 1-2, so they did manage to get a win week 2. So, who knows? Maybe they do rally to pull off a win week 4. Who knows? But I'll get to that more. Maybe as the season goes along, they get better. Who knows? But, yep, it is what it is. But, it's only early, regular season game. Kevin O'Connell's got the Vikings looking pretty solid. That's that right there. And you got the Baltimore Ravens beat the New England Patriots 37-26. Lamar Jackson out there making a case for MVP early in the season. Even got respect from Belichick after the game was over. I mean, props to Lamar Jackson. He's got a lot of pressure, especially after the Ravens didn't pay up. He's coming out there trying to prove a point to them like, hey, you better pay me. I'm the guy. And shout out to Lamar Jackson for doing that. Ravens are 2-1 right now, and hopefully for their sake, they'll keep up momentum unlike last year. But yes, also we have, speaking of teams in the AFC North, you got Cincinnati Bengals did defeat the New York Jets 27-12. Bengals get their first win of the season. It is against the Jets, let's face it. Because even with the Jets, okay, they're starting to try to rebuild on the offensive side of the ball, but I mean, obviously, who was the wide receiver again? Garrett Wilson. Yeah, that's right. Garrett Wilson left the game for the Jets. Couldn't do much there. But hey, you're the Bengals. You needed a win. You got the win. Just take it and run with it while you can, Cincinnati. Good luck the rest of the way. So you got that right there. And also, you got, the Titans 24, Raiders 22 in a close game. I mean, Raiders are looking competitive, but they still can't win, man. Just feel like that Josh McDaniels hire. I said at the time when they hired him, okay, let's see what he does. Second chance. Maybe it's been a while since he's been a coach. Maybe he's learned and gotten better. It's not looking like that so far. I mean, because through 3 games, for one reason or another, the Raiders keep losing. And in this case, they're losing to the Tennessee Titans, who they're not the same team they were. They're not. And I think we clearly saw that through the first 2 weeks. And if you're the Titans, hey, just be glad you got a win out of it. Take it and run with it. Just be glad you're not going to go winless. Good luck the rest of the way. But yeah, the Titans get a win. But more so, we look at the Raiders sideways more so than we do giving the Titans credit out of this one. But I'll get more to the Raiders' mistakes in a bit. My team, Philadelphia Eagles, took care of business against the Washington Commanders, 24-8. I already did a recap of that game. It's on my channel if you want to check it out. Eagles beat Commanders recap. So I'm not going to say much about it because I pretty much already said what I was going to say about it. Except fly, Eagles, fly. They're the only undefeated team in the NFC, looking like the best team in the NFC thus far. And Commanders, new name. You can rebrand all you want to. You're still the same team. And speaking of the Philadelphia Eagles, we're about to talk about another game that happened at 4 o'clock with one of their old faces. One of their old faces, current Jaguars head coach Doug Peterson. He's got the Jaguars playing like a legit team here. Jaguars win against the Chargers 38-10. Trevor Lawrence gets his first road win of his NFL career after an 0-9 start on the road. And you know what's ironic? Peyton Manning started 0-9 on the road in his NFL career. He got his first road win against the Chargers. So history repeating itself there. But hey, congratulations to the Jaguars. But hey, we got a game against the Jaguars. I'll talk for my team, the Philadelphia Eagles. I'll do a preview of that game later this week for the Eagles fans that want to watch that. But hey, good for the Jaguars. They're off to a 2-1 start. Good to see that Doug Peterson's making the most of his second chance as a coach. So good for you, Doug Peterson. Now, and then we got, speaking of Super Bowls, the defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams win 20-12 against the Cardinals. Looked a little off right there from the offensive side, the way they were performing. But you know what? If you're the Rams, hey, a win's a win. Take it while you can get it. You're up to 2-1. You've won 2 straight after that disastrous Week 1 performance. However, still some concerns about how they're going to fare as the season goes along, because they nearly blew a lead against the Falcons, and they narrowly beat a struggling Cardinals team, missing some of their best weapons. So, hey, take the 2-1 start for now. You're the Rams, but I don't know. See how it goes, season goes along. And for the Atlanta Falcons, speaking of the Falcons, they got their first win of the season against Seattle Seahawks, 27-23. I mean, hey, it's a win if you're the Falcons. At least you're not going to go 0-17. I still don't have much expectations for the Falcons for this season. Still think they got a long way to go before they can actually do something. But hey, if you're the Atlanta Falcons, take it. You got to win. it counts what counts. So congratulations there. Then, and now we get to one of our first upsets right there. So now we get the Green Bay Packers beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 14-12. Okay, hey, you got the win. Aaron Rodgers had a couple touchdown passes. Good Romo Dubs had a standout performance there. He could be a guy that stands out for the Packers as a go-to target now. This could be his opportunity to do something. I'll get to more on Romo Dubs in a second. But yeah, hey, congratulations to the Packers. They got the win. And for the Bucs, their running game's not looking good this year. They're not, honestly. And Brady, I don't know. Maybe the personal situation might be finally catching up to Brady. That might be the one thing that finally takes Tom Brady down. His personal issues. His marriage with Giselle. What's her name? His marriage with, his marriage is falling apart. I know I didn't pronounce his wife's name right, but yep. The one thing that finally gets TB12 down. We'll have to see as the season goes along. Sunday night. Ooh, what an embarrassing game. Broncos and 49ers. They really put this game on Sunday night thinking this was going to be a good game. I mean, if you're the Broncos, look, you're playing the 49ers with Jimmy G. And to all the people that thought, oh, Niners got Jimmy G back. They're going to start doing well. They're going to start doing good again. Well, how's that looking out? Jimmy G, he certainly had a standout performance, didn't he? I said I'm going to get to the standout performances after the score recap, so I'll talk about that in a minute. Broncos, just be glad the last 2 weeks you had to play the Houston Texans week 2, San Francisco 49ers week 3. Otherwise, you could have been 0-3 possibly. That's what I'm going to say about them right there. And then the final game, we had the Monday night game, 2 NFC East teams, Dallas Cowboys and New York Giants. Of course, they got to put the Cowboys in prime time again. And they did take care of business against the New York Giants 23-16. So the Giants' undefeated streak is over. Well, let's face it. We knew that the New York Giants were not going to be a real deal team. We knew that the 2 wins were easy wins. Week 1 against the Tennessee Titans, week 2 against the Carolina Panthers with mediocre Baker Mayfield. We knew that was going to fall apart. We knew eventually that loss was coming, and it did. Just be glad you at least started off 2-0 if you're a Giants fan. Just be happy about that. So that's the score recap. Now I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth about some of the standout performances from this winner, So I'm going to get to that in a second. So there was a lot of standout performances, both good and bad, both from teams and from coaches and players. I'll talk about that right there a second. And to anyone coming into the live stream right there, if you're coming in, do me a favor, leave a comment in the chat letting me know what your standout performances were from week 3. So I'm going to type that in too as a comment. And if you haven't done so already, please do me a favor. Drop a like, help out with the algorithm. Subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification bell so you're notified when I upload new vids so you can enjoy more content like this. And so we're going to talk a little bit about some of my standout performances. And I also encourage you guys coming in to leave me your standout performances. What you like, didn't like. So let's get right into it. So obviously, standout performances. Start with Khalil Herbert. So I got my browser up right now. I also got my browser up on, I'm checking out ESPN, checking out some statistical performances as well. But we got standout performances. We got Lamar Jackson, obviously. I mean, he went out there and he led that team to victory, balled out for them in that game right there. I mean, so we had a nice performance there by Lamar Jackson. 4 touchdowns right there, passing touchdowns, that is. So who says Lamar Jackson can't throw the ball? He threw 4 touchdowns, 218 passing yards, also had over 100 rushing yards, the fourth quarterback in NFL history to do so in a single game. So, hey, Lamar Jackson, give him credit where credit's due. He's playing like an MVP again. I think them not getting that money, though, is getting that big paycheck that he wanted. I think it certainly played a role in him going out there and saying, look, I'm going to prove to you guys that I'm the guy, that I'm worthy of that paycheck right there. Now, for the Ravens, this could come back to bite him in the future, where if they're going to have to pay him, if they're impressed with what they see, then they got to pay him in the future. They're going to have to pay up. So that could be, that could be troubling for the Ravens, because then they have to pay him more than they would have if they initially paid him. So we'll have to see what happens right there. Also, you got Tua Tagovailoa, easy to say. He completed 13 of 18 passes, 186 yards. He did briefly leave the game with a back injury, but you know what? He went back in, and he helped, played a role in the Dolphins' win there over the Buffalo Bills. Not the only contributing factor, but he was a factor nonetheless. So I got to give him props right there. I mean, also stand-up performance. Another one's Romo Dubs from the Green Bay Packers. He had 8 catches in this game with the Packers beating the Buccaneers. He also had 4 receptions week 1. So far, he's one of the main go-to targets for this new look Green Bay Packers in 2022 at wide receiver. And I'll be keeping an eye on Romo Dubs to see what he does as the season goes along. Because maybe he could be a standout, why he could see standing out as the season goes along as a breakout star for the Packers. So I'll have to keep an eye on Romo Dubs, see how well he does. But that can also be a factor if he has Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball to him, too. So that could be a contributing factor. So we'll have to see how that plays out as the season goes along. Will Romo Dubs actually go out there? Will he actually become a contributing wide receiver of the Packers? I'm curious about that right there. Also, some other standouts too. The Pittsburgh Steelers, something that set up to me, the Pittsburgh Steelers should start Kenny Pickett. Let's be honest. You've seen through 3 games the Pittsburgh Steelers, clearly Mitchell Trubisky's not the guy. We knew he wasn't going to be. We knew he was nothing more than a short-term backup quarterback. Short-term guy if you needed him to play. But as of right now, you don't need Mitchell Trubisky to play. Kenny Pickett's healthy. He's obviously the guy the Steelers drafted to be the future of their franchise. He was their first-round pick, first quarterback taken off the board in the draft. Obviously, with Kenny Pickett, if you start him, okay, maybe he makes some rookie mistakes. Maybe he struggles early and he gets better as time goes along. But you know what? I think a lot of coaches do this wrong, I think. They try to start the veteran over the rookie when the veteran's only going to get them so far. But actually, when the rookie has more upside to the future going down the line. And obviously, in this case, here, clearly, obviously, Kenny Pickett has more potential upside for the future. Even if he comes in, say, week 4, the Steelers decide to start him. Maybe he struggles. Okay, but he at least has upside. He could get better as time goes along. With Mitchell Trubisky, he struggled his whole career. He's in year 6 of his career. You know what you're getting with Mitchell Trubisky. You know the best you get from him currently is the best you're going to get from him. With a guy like Kenny Pickett, if he's starting, okay, maybe by our first couple of games he's struggling, but at least you know there's room for him to get better. There's at least a chance that he could be the face of your franchise going forward. So obviously you want to go in that direction of Kenny Pickett in hopes that he can be your face of your franchise. That's something I think the Steelers should do. I feel like Mike Tomlin, being a veteran coach, being one of the top coaches, should know better and do that. So I do think that's a mistake right there by the Steelers right there. And nothing else that's still Chicago Bears. Justin Fields, it's not looking good with him at all. I mean, he threw a couple picks in that game. And like I alluded to when I went over the score, the Bears mainly won that game off of running the ball and their defense and playing the Houston Texans, who are in a deep rebuild right now. who have a long way to go before they can actually do something significant. And not to mention, Davis Mills wasn't really looking like the answer out there for the Texans now, was he, with those 2 picks? Just saying. And as far as look, okay, Justin Fields, he's struggling to pass the ball. Now that's also part because the Bears didn't really push much to help him around him, like the Miami Dolphins, who are actually trying to help Tua in hopes that he becomes the guy. I don't know if he's the face of the franchise guy, but at least the Dolphins are trying everything to rally behind Tua and make him the face of their franchise. Whereas the Bears, they're not really doing that. They're more focused on running defense, which is a dated philosophy in today's NFL. I mean, it worked week 3, sure, with Khalil Herbert running the rough 20 times, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns, 52 yards as long as run, 7.9 yards per carry. Yes, that is true. However, that also worked because you're playing the Houston Texans, and they played the San Francisco 49ers week 1. So they got a couple of easy wins there. And how do they look with the Bears when they had to play the Packers? Oh, yeah, that's right. So this whole thing, so I think even with the Bears winning, Justin Fields' performance leaves a lot of concern for the Bears and where they're going and whether or not Justin Fields is the guy going forward. So even in a win, the Bears take an L in regard to their quarterback's performance. I mean, right there. Now, as far as the Browns go, I don't think about it. I mean, give proud shout out to Nick Chubb, 23 carries, 113 yards, and a touchdown. Obviously, you're the Browns at this point with Jacoby Brissett being your starting quarterback. Main thing to do, give Nick Chubb the ball. Give Nick Chubb the ball. You got Kareem Hunt there, too, if you need to use him. But mainly giving Nick Chubb the ball is the main thing you want to do. Right there. I mean, you also had Lamar, you also had that right there. And also, there was some interesting in the Eagles, obviously. You had Jalen Hurts looking like, right now it's looking like Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson could be the MVP candidates for the Eagles. Look, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're looking really good on both sides of the ball, offensively and defensively. They're taking care of business. And you saw with Carson Wentz, he got dropped 9 times. I mean, he clearly shows he hasn't changed as a quarterback at all. Just same old Carson Wentz. He holds on to the ball too long. He doesn't learn how to read his options and get better as a passer. And clearly week 3 proved it, that Carson Wentz is on his last legs as a starting quarterback in the NFL. He really is. I believe after this season, he's at best a backup. I mean, honestly, that's what I see with Carson Wentz. That's just the way it is. Because what did you see from Carson Wentz if you're watching this? If you saw anything for his performance, what did you see that actually convinced you he can still be a starter long term? Really? I mean, he's got decent weapons around him. And yes, the Eagles' defensive line did a hell of a job getting to him. Yes. And that's important, But Carson Wentz, he's not going to last much longer as a starter. And some other notes right there. We did have the Chargers. They're really banged up right there. You got Rashawn Slater, their lineman. He might be out for the season. You have some other key injuries. Of course, Justin Herbert, he tried to go out there and play with bruised ribs, tried to help lead his team. But considering how badly they got beat by the Jaguars, they might as well have just benched him. They might as well have just done that. Because clearly Justin Herbert was not there. He did not do what he needed to do to help his team win. And the Jaguars, hey, give credit to him. You have James Robinson starting to look like a good running back again. He's free from the Urban Meyer shackles, if you will. Oh, I can't speak right now. He's free from the Urban Meyer shackles, and he's actually looking like a quality running back. 17 rushes, 100 yards, a touchdown. He had a long run of 50 yards. He didn't have any fumbles, but hey, now the Jaguars are getting back to running the ball good. And, hey, if Trevor Lawrence progresses, this Jaguars team could be making some noise. And considering their division, they play in that crappy AFC South, that could be enough to get the Jaguars a playoff spot and win that division. Yep. So, yeah, and you also you had the Broncos. They're underperforming like hell right now. And they still have a pretty solid defense, but Russell Wilson, he looks washed up. Like he's not playing as well as he used to. Now I know also to give credit to be fair, Nathaniel Hackett, the head coach, he's obviously not doing good. He's not. Hold up 1 second, I'll be right back. Okay, so now I'm back with. So as I was saying, though, talk about the Denver Broncos. Obviously, yes, Ruffs is looking like he's past his prime. But to be fair, though, the play calling from Nathaniel Hackett is terrible. He's not looking cut to be a head coach either. So I also put some of the blame on there. He's doing a poor job. He's wasting some of that talent the Broncos have. And really, you look at their performance and their 2 wins, there's nothing really that made you think, holy smokes, the Broncos could finally take the AFC West from Kansas City. It didn't look like that at all from what I'm seeing. It just looks like a team that was lucky to win 2 of their first 3 games. That's what I saw from them. And also, another story, Mac Jones, the New England Patriots, expected to miss some games. He got injured Sunday against the Ravens, and that's not going to look good for the Patriots. They're already in 1-2. I know, obviously, the Patriots overcame a 2-4 start last year, but with not out having Mac Jones there, that's going to really put the Patriots in a bad spot, I think. And now they got to go this week against the Green Bay Packers, possibly no Mac Jones. That's not good right there. Another situation, 49ers, it's looking ugly for them. They got to start Jimmy G. And we saw Jimmy G pull the Dan Orvaski. He dropped back into his end zone. Now, to be fair, he was getting blitzed, but he stepped out of bounds in his own end zone for a safety. Jimmy G with a safety. And he's actually lucky because that would have been a pick six if he thrown that ball before he stepped out of bounds. You've seen that play. But yeah, not looking good for the 49ers at all. You also had Dalvin Cook. He's gotten hurt right there. He's questionable for next week. But also Dalvin Cook, the butt fumble part 2. This is not what we expected from Dalvin Cook this season. Getting shut down by the Eagles, butt fumble part 2. But it is happening. And also we had the butt punt with the Dolphins. Hey, that pulled the Bills from 4-point game to a 2-point game. No, I can't. All I could say is, hey, that was a good comedy play right there, the butt punt. Now, to be fair, the punter was punting in his own end zone. He didn't have much room, much separation between the ball and his players there because they were back in their end zone. He couldn't punt it from out of bounds. So, obviously, the punt there, the butt punt for a safety. Oh, we got ourselves a new comical play. But at least for the Dolphins, they won their 3-0. And they're looking good as a team right now. They could really be making some noise in the AFC. But the one thing about them, though, is they're 31st overall in rushing yards. So they got to do better with the run game. But to be fair, when you got a solid defense, you got Tyreek Hill there, Jalen Waddle as your options. It can still work out through the regular season, that is. So credit to them. And speaking of passing game, talk about Dallas Cowboys and Cooper Rush. There might be a QB controversy. I know Michael Irvin's coming out supporting Cooper Rush. But let me be honest. I mean, we're talking about 2 wins here against the Cincinnati Bengals, who are struggling, and the New York Giants, with Cooper Rush as the starting quarterback playing solid. Okay. I think based off the schedule, the Cowboys still could have won those 2 games with Dak as their starter, honestly. I'm not fully sold on Cooper Rush. Let's see what he does when they have to step up in competition, if he's still going to start them. Then we'll see what Cooper Rush, is made of. And as far as QBs go, Jameis Winston, same old Jameis Winston, puts up decent yardage, statistical numbers with yards, but throws more picks. Nothing's changing, just Jameis Winston being Jameis Winston. As far as the Saints go, I know you have Michael Thomas and Tavares Landry injured, but it's looking like last year all over again, struggling, dealing with injuries. Looks like the Saints are going to slowly go back to me in a middle of the pack NFL team in the future, man. It just does to me. I mean, that's what I taken away from this week right there. So my biggest winners and losers for this week right there. The biggest winners for the week right here are the Miami Dolphins being 3-0. Obviously pulling out 2 tough wins back-to-back weeks. Baltimore Ravens and specifically Lamar Jackson were playing like an MVP right there. Obviously another big winner. The Philadelphia Eagles for their performance against the Washington Commanders. Going to 3-0, looking like the best team in the NFC. Khalil Herbert for the Chargers. Awesome run game right there. Other big winner, Romo Dubs for his performance, helping the Packers beat the Bucs with 8 catches. Also, Devontae Smith for the, but I count the Eagles as a whole there. Also, some other winners from this week right there. Right now, you got, I guess say, who else are winners? Obviously, the Dolphins. And I got to say, though, who else are winners? Who else? I feel like some. Okay, so there's some of the winners. Nick Chubb for his performance, another winner. As far as, that's mostly it for the winners for this week. Now, the losers for this week. Losers, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers trying to still go with Mitchell Trubisky, and obviously Kenny Pickett's the future for them. Obviously, the Washington Commanders, more specifically Carson Wentz. Terrible performance against his former team on his last legs as a starting quarterback. I would say Justin Fields, even with his team winning against the Texans, poor pass performance against them. Obviously, the 49ers, embarrassing loss to the Broncos. Jimmy G The Dan Orlovsky play part 2. Yep. Some other losers coming from this. Got the Patriots. Now they're at 1-2. They possibly lost Mac Jones for a while. Chargers, they're banged up, dealing with a ton of injuries. Those main losers. And there's one more winner, actually. The Jacksonville Jaguars, for putting up 2 impressive performances, back-to-back weeks and wins. They're actually looking like a solid team right there. So I consider the Jaguars a winner as well. So those are my winners and losers right there for the week. So my main winners right there are Lamar Jackson's performance for the Ravens, Khalil Herbert, running back for the Bears, Jacksonville Jaguars for their team's performance, Philadelphia Eagles as a team performance, Romo Dobbs for helping the Packers beat the Bucks. But also got to consider I'll consider the Packers winners right there on this week. The biggest losers of this week, the Kansas City Chiefs for getting upset by the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously the Chargers, they're dealing with a ton of injuries. It's looking down for them. Saints trying to stick with Jameis Winston as their starter. Not going to work. Carson Wentz for the Commanders, the big loser in this one. The Steelers, trying to start Trubisky over Pickett. And then the Patriots falling again and losing their quarterback, Mac Jones. So those are my winners and losers for week 3 in the NFL. You guys can let me know who you have your winners and losers in the comment section. That's what I got to say. So everyone that tuned into this stream, thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. Whether you watched all of it, even if you did watch all of it, I appreciate it. Even if you only watch part of the stream, I appreciate you tuning in, checking out the stream, helping support the channel. If you're still here and you haven't done so, do me a favor. Drop a like, help out the algorithm. Subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification bell so you know if I upload a new vid. Help support the channel. If you want to do so, leave a comment. Let me know what stood out to you, both good and bad from week 3 of the NFL. Most of all, have a wonderful day or night. Nicky Steve signing off. I'll be back tomorrow at noon to give my week 4 preview. All right, now I'm signing off, and I'll be back for another vid soon.